Great careers are not accidents, they're journeys built through clarity and intent. In every industry, there are such journeys that reveal true leadership, sacrifice, risk, and purpose. I'm Dirk Horn, and this is The Pitch and the Catch, where we dive into choices, changes, and the careers they create. Welcome. Today we're joined by Benoit La Salle, a leader who has spent more than 3 decades building companies in one of the most volatile industries there is. Benoit is the president and CEO of Aya Gold and Silver, a pure-play silver producer operating in Morocco. Before Aya, he founded Semafo and grew it from a junior explorer into a multi-asset gold producer in West Africa. Across that journey, he has led organizations through commodity cycles, geopolitical complexity, and moments where decisions had to be made long before the outcome was clear. That makes this conversation particularly timely. Gold and silver are back in the spotlight. Markets are moving fast and narratives shift quickly. Yet, building a mining company remains a long game, and that demands patience, discipline, and credibility with investors, governments, and communities alike. Benoit brings deep experience and perspective on leadership under sustained uncertainty, about judgment when volatility is the baseline, and about staying grounded when the ground is constantly moving, sometimes literally. Welcome to the show, Benoit. It's great to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure. And look, you're absolutely right. Timing is everything, and this is the time.
This is the time, and I am so excited to get to all the silver conversations that we're going to have, but because you have such an interesting vita, which I found out in the brief. So before we get to the burning questions about gold, silver, and what it really takes to lead a mining company in that space, I'd love to take a couple of steps back first and learn more a little bit about you as a person and the leader you are. And very exciting for me because my daughter went there. You were a professor at McGill University in the Desautels Faculty of Management while still leading Semafo. Walk me through that experience and how the professorship came about.
Yeah, no, it's a long story, and I owe almost everything to Desautels, and I'm invited back every year, and I don't go every year because sometimes I'm out of Canada, but I'm invited back every year. Is I studied there. I did my Bachelor of Commerce, and I did a master in economics. I did a master in accounting, and then I did my CPA exam, and I became a CPA through McGill University. At the time, it was called McGill University. The Desautels came a little bit after. And then when, after graduation, my business partner and myself, we decided that we would have our own accounting practice. And a nice concept, great idea, but no clients. So I went back to McGill, and I met the dean at the time, and I said, look, we did 5 years of studying here. We did well. We liked what we did. We're both accountants. And do you need, part-time teachers for some courses or teacher assistant? And pure luck, one teacher got ill to teach financial accounting. And with 24-hour notice, they've asked me if I could start teaching financial accounting. Because we had no clients and a lot of time, I was able to really put up a very good course with new techniques and new visuals and all of that. And really the course got fantastic rating. That they called me back in and they said, look, would you like to come and teach at the MBA level? And I said, I'd love to, but I'm only 26 years old. What's the average age in the class? It's probably like 38.
Probably.
And I'm 26 or 27. And I said, sure, I'd love to do it. And I taught at McGill for 10 years, 4 nights a week, 11 months of the year, business valuation, finance, accounting a little bit, but mainly finance at a higher level, at the MBA level. And I did it for 10 years.
Wow.
And at the same time was building my accounting practice, which grew from my business partner and myself. We grew that to about 50 employees over time, over the years, and about 1,000 clients. And It was a very, very successful practice. We did very, very well. And then because of McGill, somebody came to me and said, "Would you like to be the morning man at in Montreal on the radio station at CBC? Because you know finance." And the lady was following the classes at the MBA level. I said, "Sure, why not? I mean, I teach from 6 to 9 at night. I may as well work in the radio from 6 to 9 in the morning and go from in the middle. Then I can work at the accounting practice." And I did that also for about 10 years. And somebody heard me, saw what we were doing, asked me to join a charity, which is Canada's leading charity called Plan. So I joined Plan because I'm an accountant. I'm bilingual. I live in Montreal. I speak English. I joined the board of director of Plan and became the chair of the audit committee, of course. And then that Plan is an international nonprofit organization. And one day they're telling me we're going to do a board meeting in West Africa.
Mm.
I had never been to West Africa. I knew where it was on the map, but I couldn't give you all the countries. So we organized this, and the whole board, we fly into to Burkina Faso, which I
Yep.
didn't know. The capital was Ouagadougou,
Hmm.
and we fly there, and then we go to Ivory Coast, and so we did a bit of work there in West Africa. And as I was in Burkina, the president of Burkina says, "Mr. La Salle, you're from Canada. All you guys are great miners." It's the same thing as when you go to Europe and they say, "Oh, my brother lives in Canada. You must know him."
Yeah.
A little bit the same.
Yeah. You're
The
all great
president, of
miners.
the president of Burkina says, "Oh, you Canadians are all great miners. So can you come and help us? Why in West Africa you have mines in Ghana, you
Yeah.
have mines in Mali, you have
Yes.
even a couple of mines in Niger, and we're in the middle of this, and there's no mines in Burkina. Like we have nothing. We have cotton and very little agriculture. We have nothing." So I said, "Mr. President, look, I'll ask around if there's some interest." And he said, "Oh, I'm counting on you to come and help us." So I kind of felt responsible. And so I came back to Canada and I said, I tried to find somebody who would come with me, and I found nobody. But we were doing tax planning for a geologist who was coming back to Canada, and I kind of made a deal with him that we would do all the work. So if you could join me for the next trip to West Africa. And we did that. And when we landed in Burkina, the president was waiting for us, and he gave us like 18 permits,
Wow.
exploration permits, which were started with number 3. So permits number 3, and we picked up all these permits. And I came back and I said, "Okay, I got to find somebody to use this. I mean, what am I mean, I have an accounting practice. My phone rings every 5 minutes with a client asking questions.
Yeah.
Can't run a mining company." So I went to Toronto. I went around. I tried to find a, somebody who would take those assets and those permits. There was no interest. I would go and say, "I have these assets in Burkina Faso." Everybody said, "Where?" I said, "Burkina Faso." "What was the old name before?" Upper Volta.
Upper Volta.
Upper Volta. And no one, like, people had no clue. 1995, no clue.
Yeah.
So then I said, "Okay, well, look, we'll create a company. We'll put these assets in it. We're going to raise a little bit of money, and let's see." And so we created a company, my business partner and myself, put the 18 permits in, raised with 4 individual a little bit of money, and started going back, traveling economy on Air Afrique for $800, 24-hour flight to Africa, stopping through Paris. Oh, and we started doing a bit of work and getting to understand what we had, until one day a gentleman came to me and said, "We have this new technique," which and mining is old school. People don't like new techniques. It's like old school. They like the
It's
way it
all
is.
about reliability. The mind can't stop. It's
That's
all
right.
it's all
And
about continuous operations.
so this guy comes to me and he says, "We have this new technique. It's like when a woman is pregnant, you do a scan. Well, we do a scan of the earth and we'll tell you if there's metal." All the geos started laughing. They thought that was a joke. And I'm not from the industry. I don't know. I'm an accountant. I said to the guy, "Does it work?" He says, "Yeah, it does work." "How much would you charge us to do the
Of
permit?"
course, important question.
He said, "I'll charge you $200,000. I said, "Okay." We had like 400,000 left. It was half of the treasury, but we were finding nothing. So I said, yeah, let's do it. So I
It's like a Hail Mary.
Hail Mary from your 10-yard line to the behind the post, the goal post. And I we did a Hail Mary, and we found the Carlin Trend or the Abitibi Belt or whatever you want to call it of Burkina Faso.
Wow.
So
Wow.
we found a structure where today there's probably 10 mines in operation, but we found a structure that is extremely well mineralized, that runs from 1,000 kilometers, and where at SEMAFO, we call the first company SEMAFO, and it means in English, West Africa Mining Corporation, Société d'Exploration Minière Afrique de l'Ouest. SEMAFO. It's an
Here we
acronym.
go. Here we go. It's an acronym. I didn't know.
So we and from the going kind of public at 15 cents, the stock went to $12.
That's how many percent is that? Oh no, then let me do the math.
It's like 50. People think you want to have a 10 bagger.
Yeah,
Well, that was like a 50, 60 bagger.
that's crazy. That's crazy.
And from two guys, Joe and myself, and a little bit of staff, we built a company of 3,000 employees. And at one point producing up to 400,000 ounces of gold per year, making $200 million profit. And gold was much lower at the time. Gold was much, much lower. But and with my background in economics, with having done a master in economics, I was always keen on geopolitical
Hmm.
situation and
Yes.
understanding. And so when I got involved in mining and in gold, then I kind of understood that the geopolitics was going to play a very big role into all of that, that the value of the gold would change and could change. So, because in mining, as a CEO, you have to think way ahead. Like, you have to see the future before everybody, because you have to make decision. You have to make some acquisition before everybody. You have to increase your drill program before everybody. You have to start building your mine before everybody, because if you want to do it now, everybody's trying to do it now because now prices are so good. So we did that. We built 3 mines at SEMAFO, really on time and on budget. It became a beautiful company, and it was sold in 19, just before COVID. It was a beautiful transaction. Company was sold to Endeavor Mining, and all of us were doing other things in battery material and looking at nickel, copper, cobalt. And this little company, orphan company called Aya, became available, and we took some of the team of SEMAFO and others from that were in Morocco, and we created a new team and a new strategy and a new momentum called Aya Gold and Silver, and today Aya is twice the size of what SEMAFO was when we sold it.
And that's only 6 years in.
It's five, not even 5.5. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. So this is how I kind of got involved, through McGill, through teaching, through radio, through a board of a charity, going to Africa, picking up some permits, putting the permits into the company, raising a little bit of money with friends and family. And today, well, Aya is and world success in mining. It's recognized everywhere. It's silver. We will talk about
Yes.
is the new metal of the future because of communication, armament, medicine, and name it. And we are now, there's a list of the top 10 silver producer in the world, and we are part of the top 10.
Wow. Wow. I cannot make gestures here, but I can think of a lot of appreciative. That's amazing. Congrats. That is a huge success story.
It's it's the it's yeah, it is, it is. Let's be honest, it is, doing the first company, taking a little break, going into the energy metal, and of course silver is an energy metal. So that's why we got so interested in the silver, because it's the best energy metal. It's the best. So we got interested.
what I'm curious in, so I've worked mining adjacent. So one of my big clients or our big clients is in the pump space. So I got, and for about 10 years, I got exposed to mining know-how to a certain extent. For, they do crushers, the pumps, and all of this. This is why I know a little bit about mining operations. This is not a trivial matter. You just don't go somewhere and build a mine.
No, no.
No. And
Well,
how did you describe that learning curve to me. I mean, I watched your videos on the website. I mean, you're under the ground, the trucks go under the ground, they get the material out, you crush the material, you watch everything. Happens all on site. Tell me a little bit about the learning curve, because you were originally an accountant. You were
yes,
geopolitically interested, but you need to understand mining to run
that's right.
mining.
That's right. So there's kind of two level to the learning process. Is
Yes,
mining is mathematics. It's pure maths, pure maths. Is what's the grade? What's the tonnage? What's the density? What's the cost of taking it out? What's the cost of processing it?
yes,
How much are you selling it for? It's plain math.
understood.
So a lot of CEOs in mining are former accountants.
Finance people, yeah.
Many CEOs are finance because it's mathematics. But below that, you have then your technical services. And in your technical services, you have your geologists who are the artists, the
Yes,
dreamers, the guys who see the geology in 3D. You can't even understand what you're seeing, and they're seeing stuff, and they're
amazing.
telling you, yeah, it's like this, it's like that, it's going to turn like this. That's their
That's
business.
their thing. Yeah.
You need them. You need to have the best with you. These guys are fantastic. Then you have your mining team. So those are mining engineers. Then they take what the geos have discovered and
Yes.
then they make that into a 3D model where you know every square meter, where it is, what's in it, how you'll mine it, how you'll truck it, how much it's going to cost.
Yes.
It's called a block model. Then you need your team for the plant. And those guys are called metallurgists.
Yes.
And they need to run that plant 24/7, 365 days. It's got to run. It will take the rock from the mining team who got it from the geological team and it'll process it through and they'll tweak it like they're making the cake. They're running the stove. They're making the cake for your 3-star Michelin restaurant.
Yes.
And so you need to have at the top somebody that gets all the numbers and can really understand the cost. And then you need to hire the best people in geology, in mining engineer, in metallurgy. And to that, you also have to have all the services. So accounting, finance, communication. So it's a step-by-step thing. I always say it's like football. You have a playbook. You got to go by the playbook.
Yes.
And so you do it once, you make a lot of mistakes, you make some changes, you know, and you use a different playbook. Now on the second time around, we have the playbook. So we know who are the best software to use in geology, software in mine, in block model, in accounting, the best taxation system, how to structure your companies worldwide. So all of that we know, we've done it so many times. And we've put together an amazing team, which now in Naya, there's about 1,500 employees, and that's going to double in the next 2 to 2.5 years. And so it's really, it's very systematic. But again, as I said, it's mathematics. It's real mathematics when
Yeah.
you look at all this, because the beauty is we don't need to look for clients. We don't
Yeah.
have receivables. We don't have clients that you hate that are you sell on the open market, on the LME in London or in Geneva, in Shanghai. You sell, you're paid within 24 hours. It's a beauty.
Yeah. You have different variables, like in terms of the geology, the geopolitical.
So that people don't think it's that easy
No,
is
it's not.
1 in 10,000 projects are going to make it to a feasibility study.
Wow.
And of 10 feasibility or pre-feasibility study, only one's going to make it into a month.
So the feasibility means someone digs in the ground
All
and
the
see
drilling
if
is
they're
done.
drilling, there's something. So that's a feasibility
Yeah,
study.
the drilling is done. The metallurgy work is done. The mine plan is done, the block model is done, the environmental impact study is
Yes.
done, the social study is done. I mean, you got like 42 chapters of work that needs to be done. Once you put all that together, 1 out of 10 is going to work. Many, and now, especially now around the world, permitting is an issue.
Yes.
So us in Morocco, we're very, very happy with the system, how it works. Permitting is very straightforward. It's very quick. They want mining. But if you're trying to get a mine permitted in Ireland or in Scotland or in France or in British Columbia or in historically in the United States, but now it seemed to be changing, it can be very, very difficult. In Mexico, and no more open pit mining. So it can be extremely complicated. So, and I always say there's a triangle in to make it work. You need the geology, obviously. You need the jurisdiction,
Yes.
and you need the people.
Yeah.
So if you have your three, geology, jurisdiction, and people, there's a chance that it may work.
Wow. So, um, in the brief, so we talked yesterday, I told you I was in Morocco actually 6 weeks ago, and without knowing, I drove past your mine. I drove for the South Atlas.
Yep.
So your mine is what we would describe as in the middle of nowhere, if you
Hmm.
want to say it. Like, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's incredibly beautiful. So, how do you get the material, the people, and all of this into the middle of nowhere? Because I think even from Marrakesh, which is a sizable city, it's at least 2 hours of a drive.
Yeah. So from Marrakesh, it's 4 hours.
4 hours from
It's
Marrakesh.
4 hours.
So it's because you have to leave the main road and go like a back road.
Yeah. And but we do have, our own village. Can
Yes,
you know
it's an own village.
We have
Yes,
our own village. We can have about 150 people there. And
yes,
then there's what we do is we have surrounding villages where we help people build real estate. And we rent homes from them. So they manage the real estate, they manage the home, they manage the cleaning, and our employees can live in homes that we rent, but we don't build them, we don't own them, and we create that way, economic development.
and this is why I think Morocco is a pro-mining jurisdiction, because you're creating development in an area that has basically no infrastructure. But
Precisely.
what I remembered, the road, no, it's 6 weeks ago, the roads were pristine. They were all new. And we were like, why are the roads so new? Now I know it's because of you and the other mines.
It's a government program.
It's a government
It's a
program.
government program. Morocco is an extremely well-run country.
Yes, I had the impression. It's very
Extremely
clean,
well-run
very
country.
organized.
It's Switzerland of Africa.
Oh, I bet they love to hear that.
It is Switzerland of Africa. It's very disciplined. There are many controls,
Yes.
and they have a road system that is better than Canada or United States. They have a 5G communication network
Everywhere. I
everywhere,
was in the desert and was able to take calls.
everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere. It works everywhere.
Yeah.
To start a mine, the government will come to you and say, how many employees do you need? Say, I need 500. What type? Okay, we will train them. We have our own school. We'll train them when you need them. They'll be available. They are with you. They're helping you. They are there. Power, power.
Yes.
So we need power. Oh, we'll bring the power line. Okay. It's a 20-year agreement.
20
It's
year.
green energy. Eh? Morocco is green. The power
Yes.
line is solar and wind, and they bring it to site. They want you to operate now.
Yes.
On 1 to 10, Morocco is 10 for the place to do business.
Yeah. So it's very pro entrepreneurial, very pro
It
business.
is. It is. It's safe.
Yeah.
People are well educated.
Yes.
People work hard. And you have suppliers at site. Marrakesh is the equivalent, if you know Quebec, of Val d'Or, or
Yeah.
it's the equivalent
Yes.
of
Yes.
a city where all the suppliers are for the mining sector. Because you know that Morocco is the number one phosphate producer in the world with a company called OCP.
I didn't know that.
So they're
I've
number
been to a
one.
phosphate mine in Florida, but never in
Yeah,
Morocco.
no, they're number one. It's called OCP, and they are the number one producer of phosphate. And so, and then of course that's mining. So there's a culture of mining in Morocco, and so you have people. As I said, you have power, you have water, and now there's a lot of water. You saw it was raining like crazy in the past month. You have water. You have a mining code that's super positive, very aggressive, very, very good mining code. And after that, then it's for us to work. And now, so let me explain the geology because that's interesting. The
Yes.
geology is the Atlas Mountain. So you went up the Atlas Mountain, you went down, you saw nothing, which is normal.
Yeah,
But the
actually.
Atlas Mountain is a fault. So it is a fault.
Yes.
It opened up like this. Let's put it like that. It opened up. The fluids came up, and it's a volcanic, massive sulfide fault that is 1,600 kilometer long. Carlin Trend is 160 miles. This is 8 times the Carlin Trend that we have in Nevada or the Cadillac Break that we have in Quebec. This is 1,600 kilometer of a VMS fault.
Is this between the two Atlas ranges that you go through? You go through the
There's two
high one?
faults. Yes, yes.
Yes.
So that's right. You know when there was the earthquake 2 years ago?
Yes.
It was the fault. That was the fault was moving. That was the earthquake.
I didn't
And
know.
the fault was the source of the fluids. And again, I'm making it much simpler. And the real, theoretical geologists say, come on, Benoit, this is not that simple. Of course it isn't. But 500 million years ago, when the fluids were coming up, and it was mineralized fluids with gold, silver, lead, zinc, copper,
Yes.
cobalt. The beauty of Morocco is they have it all. They have it all. Like it's a South Africa look-alike structure.
Yeah, I was very it was my first time in Morocco. I was very impressed with everything. And I think I told you. So it's just from the airport, the experience. You leave the airport. I mean, it's full of people, but it is clean and organized. I mean, so how did you get to Morocco in the first place? I know how you got to Burkina Faso, but so it was as Aya had operations in Morocco?
Yeah, so Aya was created 10 years ago and or 12 years ago, and it was being run by a local businessman, very nice man. And but he did not have access to the capital market like we do. So he did not have access to the Toronto Stock Exchange
Yes.
or the Nasdaq Stock Exchange, and so when you don't have money to invest, well, you don't do the drilling because the only value creation possible in mining is through drilling. You have to drill, you have to do the geometry of your deposit. So he didn't do that, but he was very good at putting the permits together. So he put all these beautiful permits in the company, and then he stopped. It's like a guy trying to open a restaurant. He buys all the furniture, he buys
Kitchen,
everything,
everything, and then he didn't
but
serve guests.
he doesn't have the money to bring the food in. So he did it all. It was perfectly prepared. And we came in with the food, with the people, with the chef, and we went bang, 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 bang. And in 5 years, we discovered 550, even almost 600 million ounces of silver
Wow.
equivalent. So it's the biggest discovery of our sector.
So but that's not just the Segunder mine, right? The Segunder mine is about 70 million,
In resource, it's 100 million,
100 million.
70 in reserves. But let's
Yeah.
let's work in resource. And the second project called Boumadine
Yes.
is currently at 450 million ounces.
Ooh.
So
See, I'm
Boumadine is 5 times the size of the first project of Zgunda. Five
see,
times.
it's kind of a missed opportunity. I met you after I was in Morocco. Now I have to go back and visit your mine at some
Yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah. No, we have many demands.
I can imagine. Speaking of Aya and silver and the market. So I've looked at the silver price. It went up from January last year, which was $28 to 80. Now it went down to 78, but it's basically more than $50 up. What happens with the silver price? Is it because gold went up or what's going on there? And
So,
everybody says, I'm sorry, I'm just because I
no,
did
no.
some research says this is just the beginning of the development.
Yes, it is. It is just the beginning. And what happened is, first of all, silver was kind of compressed for 50 years and it was manipulated, completely manipulated because it was kind of a second class citizen. Gold
Hmm.
was a first class citizen and silver was the little,
Yeah.
the little guy on the side. And there's very few silver mines it's mainly copper mine with a silver, byproduct, or lead and zinc with silver byproduct. So silver was like left on the sideline. Gold moved very well until 2000. In September 2011, gold went to 1927, and that was
Yes.
a great move. We were making a lot of money, and silver was bumping around, and it had a few events like in 1980 because the Hunt brother tried to corner the silver market. That didn't go well, and it came right back down to $2-3, and it came back up once. But if you look on a long-term basis, silver was dead boring.
Yes.
And then the electrification of transport arrived, computers, AI chips, armament, medical, and silver panel,
Yeah. Solar panels.
and
Yeah.
the demand went straight up like that. Production is flat and decreasing.
Yeah.
And right now, the lines cross, and there's a gap of about 200 million ounces a year of silver missing.
So
But
we're in a squeeze.
for the last 5 years, people were eating through the inventory
Yes.
because there was inventory. So they were eating through the inventory in London, in New York, in Shanghai. And now there's no more inventory. There's no inventory. There's no more silver.
So whatever you produce basically directly goes to an OEM that does something with it.
Well, it goes to a trader in Geneva because we produce 99.3%.
99.3.
And they take it to 99.9 and then they sell it. But it's really like just to make it, to put it in a nice box and to polish it. That's what they do.
Yes.
And which is, and they have all the clients, because us, the beauty of mining, you have it, they come and get it. They come and get it in 24 hours. You're paid.
Wow.
So it's very quick. And again, you may have a different, system, but it's, your receivable cannot exceed like 7 days, and you don't look for clients. So that's quite neat. Yes, it's just the beginning. Solar is going up
It
in
will.
India, in China, in Asia, in the United States. Requires so much silver, and that's going up.
Yeah, because we're all investing into military now.
And military is what? It's computer systems.
Yes.
And all the computer systems work with chips. And how does the electricity travel on that chip? Silver.
Silver.
And they've tried to put copper, but it's not as efficient. The gold is too expensive. Obviously, they can't put gold. So silver has got the best future for the next, let's say, 20 years possible. And there's no new mines. There's just no new mines. Our next mine, Boumadiene, is one of the few mines that is going into production. It will produce about 37 million a year of silver equivalent. So the demand, the people calling us for the material is just unheard of because people need silver. So historically, you were able to sell silver on a Monday and deliver it on a Friday, because if it was in transit,
Mm-hmm.
and they would charge you, it's called the lease rate.
Yes.
And the lease rate was 2%, 3%. And at one point, 2 months ago, the lease rate went to 140%.
Mhm.
So they were charging you 140% lease rate for the 3, 4, 5 days that that they didn't have the silver because it was in transit. And the reason is it's because there's no silver. So we are in an industry which is very hard to come in,
Yep. It
very
is
technical,
very regulative also.
very,
Yeah.
very. If you ask your brother-in-law and your families at cocktails, everybody lost money in a mining deal
Mm-hmm.
because it's so risky. But if you hit the right one, like if you came with us when we took over Aya, today you made already 40 times
Yeah.
your money, 40.
Again, we're too late, which is
No. If you come with us now, you're going to have a beautiful future.
here we go. Here we go. That's
You're going to have a beautiful future because the silver price is going up
yeah.
and our costs are not going up. So we sold silver yesterday morning at $80 an ounce.
Yes.
So our cost all in for simplicity is 20. Just it's about We made
It's about 25% is cost
yeah,
of goods sold. Okay.
25%. Our margins are 75%.
So, and that is, I know that's a very detailed question, but uh, you're delivering a silver at 99.3%. Is that what you pay $80 for, or are you getting a lower price than that? I was just curious when you.
No, what you do is you quantify the amount of silver in
You
the
got
drink.
to 100% is the price that we.
Yeah,
Here we go. I
yeah.
understand. So the Geneva dealer, that what they do is basically they have the margin in between when they go from 99.3 to 99.3
Well,
to 99.9.
depending what's the point seven. If it's
Yeah.
a bit of copper, a little bit of
Yes.
gold, a little bit of zinc, those
Yes.
are small pieces that we don't get. They keep that.
Yes. I grew up in aluminum, so I now work with metallurgists. So I know this when we took the aluminum from 99 point something to something higher, and it was like, me as a non-technical person like you, I'm a business trained person. I'm like, what's it's not just aluminum, and they're like, no, there's lots of other stuff in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I understood. In terms of the mines, so I think Segunda is good for another 10 to 15 years, correct?
Well, it's good for another 11 years,
11.
but we've only looked at about 2 or 3% of our ground.
Yes.
And in geology, you always say you find a mine beside a mine, because when the fluids came up, it was not a candle, it was fireworks.
Yes.
So right now you have fireworks everywhere, and we're just mining the top of one.
I
And
hear you.
that has 11 years of mine life. So that's why you need to have a lot of ground when you have a mine, because you will find another mine, another deposit. Let's use another deposit very close by.
Yes. But I have, because, I did my notes. I have a more leadership related question to you, but also to that. So when I listened to you, how you pivoted from being an accountant with no clients to going to McGill, and that was a pretty bold move. I don't know if that was possible today with everything being more complicated, but it was a bold move. So I wrote down a couple of words. So what makes a successful businessman? You need to be able to pivot. So if you're sitting on a dead horse, you got to leave the dead horse. You got to take initiative. This is you going to McGill. You got to have a little bit of luck. There's got to be luck. And there was that unfortunately sick professor that gave you the opening. You got to have a quality delivery. I mean, you would have not made it 10 plus 10 years without being a good professor, I guess.
Of course, of course.
There's courage that's definitely required. I mean, you were 26 and your students were 15 years older and with more operational experience. And then when you said you were also the radio host, so you worked from 6 to 9 and then again from 6 to 9, there's sacrifice involved in being a successful person. Pivot, initiative, luck, quality delivery, courage, sacrifice. Is that the recipe you need for the next big leap in terms of opening the next mine, keeping this one successful, or where's your learning curve? What do you need to learn and
So
continue to learn and grow?
all of what you've said, you need that.
Yes.
It's true. It's all right. But you also need one final ingredient in your Caesar salad,
Yep.
and you need perseverance,
Perseverance. Yeah.
because people give up. It's people
Hmm.
all the way through, from university, through business, through geology, people give up. And in geology, we always say it's the third owner of a project that finds it, because people gave up. And in geology, now people know, and you should never give up property. Never. You keep it, you come back, you rethink, you come back. You should, I've been to so many meetings where the team is saying, you know what, it's over. In French, we say le citron est pressé. We
Mm-hmm.
press the
Yep.
lemon. There's
Je
nothing
comprends.
left. And I go, no, there's something left, guys. Let's step back. Let's rethink. And all of a sudden, you find a new structure. You find a new deposit. But to me, all the ingredient is absolutely necessary. You need to be able to pivot. You have to have vision. Most people are way too low. As if you're a CEO, you need to be way up there. You have to have vision. You have to have an opinion on where the world is going. And with that, then you make the proper decision. But to carry the team, the locomotive has got to have a lot of steam because people, come on, it's so tough. And come on, guys, let's get this done. And perseverance to me will take, the team, the employees, the leadership is seen as somebody that would never give up. And me, I always told my children, we never give up. We never. This is, I mean, giving up is not part of our values. It's just
No.
don't. No.
And I think, by the way, to be frank, I think the 45 minutes with you was the best leadership lesson I've ever had on the pitch and the catch. That was, and I agree 100% with you. Here's a more tech. I have two more questions because you already gave me a lot. Two more questions at least. From 1,500 to 3,000 people, and I agree with you. The locomotive has to have a lot of steam. How do you keep? And people at some point in time, people are getting tired and people need the break. But how do you keep the momentum and the energy up? What's your because 3,000 people is a big organization.
Yeah. So you have to make sure that you're properly staffed. And often and I prefer to be overstaffed than understaffed. So if you see the right person with the right attitude, with the right background,
Yes.
and the spot's not perfect, you take that person. You don't. There's no discussion.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, we take it because the organization will need that person at one point in time, and I'd rather be a little bit overstaffed than to be understaffed where you're going to be making mistakes. So you need to have the team. You need to respect them. You need to communicate with them extremely well. And you know what? You also need to give them a lot of leeway. A lot of leeway. Like, I'm not a signing officer. I don't sign checks. I'm not a signing officer.
Yeah.
I look at things.
Yeah.
I got a great CFO. He's much better than me.
Yeah.
I've got a great CLO. He's much better than me. So why should I go and start checking things? I know them. I trust them. I know they're really on the train. We're on the train together, and I don't have to do this. So I can communicate. I can talk to analysts. I can talk to shareholders. I can look at M&A strategy. I don't sign checks. I don't review legal documents. I mean, and that delegation with supervision is also extremely important to build a large organization. I mean, if you have a mom and pop smaller shop, and for some people, some people cannot delegate. It's not in them. They can't. They
Agreed. Yeah. And maybe not just for bad reasons. Sometimes they're just too much in love with what they do. Can be
and
anything.
and they don't trust for some
Yep.
reason. You know, uh, me, I trust. If they trick me once, the window is not big enough. I'm telling you, there's no second chance. Like, there's no second chance. They know. And so, but until we get there, which I can assure you it did not happen often in 30 years, we're all good. But if we do, like sometimes on site, and this philosophy is pushed all the way down. We've heard of a young mechanic who was asking a kickback on a job. You heard about it. It took half a day and he was gone. And where most people say, he's young. Zero tolerance for that stuff. So it's delegated down. The teams are responsible. They're paid accordingly. We have very good key performance indicator. So and the pay package is extremely important. You have your salary, you have your short-term incentive, which can go from, depending where you are, from 50% of your salary up to 150% of your salary. And then you have your LTI, your long-term incentive, which is also a function of long-term value creation. And that is going to be a very competitive package.
So it's remuneration too. So, I mean, what you just beautifully described, if we take one step back, is the idea of accountability and responsibility.
Mhm.
So you have your CFO signing the checks, he's responsible. but ultimately the accountability still lies with you.
It does.
And you need a mechanism to make that work in between. So because if you start signing the checks, you're making yourself the one responsible to.
Well, but again, you need to know your business well enough that
Oh, yeah.
when you look at the financial statements,
Yes. No,
you
no, as the person accountable, you need to understand what's going on. You cannot, that's an interesting aspect. You cannot be accountable as, not knowing what's going on or not being deep enough. Accountable means you understand the business.
well, to the point that when we go to our board, I'm the only one presenting. So I have to know it all perfectly.
Yes.
I am
Yeah.
fed very good information. And then we go to the board and I'm presenting because
Yeah.
I'm the one accountable.
Yes.
And I say, here's the plan, here are the results, here's where we're going. This is the plan, this is how we're going to execute it. I am presenting that because this is my vision, the CEO's vision. And that's where we take it to the next level. It's extremely important that all the team sees this, that there's leadership, there's true leadership. We're leading you, you know, because sometimes leadership gets fuzzy.
It's get managing or organizing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not what
that's right.
yes.
It's managing. It's not managing is not leadership.
Like managing means I tell you what you do. Leader, I tell you where we're going.
Precisely, totally. And that is I'm telling the team where we're going. And after that, I'm stepping back and I say, go, let's get this done.
Excellent. You gave me a very comprehensive answer on how to keep the locomotive under steam. Thank you. This is very insightful. Here's my. We could continue talking. I've learned a lot from you today, but here's my last comment and question. Oh, no, it's more a comment, a funny one. So Canadians are good at mining, and that's kind of it's a generic thing to say. I visited a few mines, and you will laugh about this. I always wanted to go to those diamond mines. I think in the Northern Territory, but then they don't let you in easily. You know how hard it is to go up there? And yet there's not even roads up there. You got to fly in. So this is like the most secret operation. This is almost like Area 51 for me.
Yeah. First of all, it's a terrible business.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
terrible business. People can steal your profit in one
Yes.
day.
Yeah, literally.
So
Yeah.
that's why it's so controlled. And it's an oligopoly controlled by the Oppenheimers. And so it's super difficult. In Quebec, we've built a beautiful mine.
Yeah.
It operated for a couple of years. It's now shut down. We're losing about $1 billion. I don't have the exact number. It's a very, very tough business because in mining, if you're doing copper, lead, zinc, gold, silver, you don't have a buyer. You have a market. You're selling into the
Yes.
market.
Yes.
Diamond,
And
you're
you
selling.
can't carry it easily out in your pocket.
Yeah, diamond is a terrible business. Every time somebody tells me, "Oh, I'm investing in diamond,"
No,
I say, "Sure, you're going to lose all your money." That and precious stones is as bad.
Benoit, what's a question I should have asked, but I didn't ask because you're such a resource. Did I forget anything?
No, look, I think maybe just why, and you did ask, but I didn't answer why gold and silver is just the beginning.
Yes.
That I think is, again, look, I'm 35,000 feet up. I'm looking at
Oh,
where we're going, where the world is going, where the world went last weekend with Venezuela,
yes.
and how the world is reacting to this. And the reality is the only currency of value that is left is gold. That's the
Yes.
only currency of value. Everything else
It's
is
fluffy. It's
is
fluff.
fluffy. It's
Yes,
fluffy
fluff. Yeah.
and gets printed and gets manipulated. So the very, very wealthy families, the countries are all heading into gold. And at one point, gold does carry the silver. So silver, the industrial demand is extremely strong, but the financial demand is increasing. So gold will keep going up. It will keep going up, and silver will follow as financial demand, but it will also increase faster because of industrial demand. So if you're looking at investing in precious metal because you're concerned with your euro, which is on its knees, not to say gone, you can't buy a renminbi or you won't be buying so, and you have US dollars and look, the writing's on the wall. Well, you got to switch. And again, why did Bank of America yesterday say go 30% in your portfolio? Precious. And JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley have said go 20% precious in your portfolio because they know that if you don't have that, you'll have no return next
Yes.
year and the year after and the year after. So the only way you're going to protect your return in your portfolio is by being 20, 30, 40% into the precious space. But the precious space is that small, small,
It's
small.
very small.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be very difficult to get in. And that's why the volumes are fantastic. But gold and silver are going up. This morning, a very large shareholder wrote to it's a very large fund, and he wrote to his shareholders or his fund members, and he said silver is 90 this year, it's 120 next year, it's 150 the year after, it'll be 175, and I think he's very, very conservative. And he
Yeah.
says, if you take those numbers and you look at any silver company, apply that to their current production, the stock will double every 24 months. That's
Yeah,
what's
and I
going to
think
happen.
gold and silver is something real. And at the moment, we're still trusting into AI, but there's a lot of money in AI, which we don't know if it's going to stay there, if it's real money.
Yeah.
And gold and silver have always, especially gold, silver is, I've learned this from it. Gold's always been something people reverted to when times are tougher, times are more uncertain. And now you have the industry demand underneath that supports it.
Yeah. And central banks, they were not there
Yes.
on gold and now starting into silver. So that's why it's going to be very volatile because there's big hedge
Yeah.
fund, there's a
Yeah.
lot of players. So it's going to be very, very volatile. But absolutely, what you're going to see is the metal is going to continue to go up with turbulence.
Yep. And yeah, everybody wants to make a buck, but in principle, don't get nervous, is what you're
That's
saying.
right. And I'm going to close on Canada's best mining executive called Pierre Lassonde.
Yep.
And difficult to argue with Pierre. He's built a $40 billion company. Sorry, his call on gold is 17,000 in 5 years.
That's more than 3 times than we have now. Correct. Wow.
4 times. We had three,
Almost, yeah,
3.5
three and a half times.
and
Wow.
Pierre's call on gold is 17,000. So, and again, I mean, he says it, that's his position. But if you look at all the technical analysts, their goal call is 6, 7, 8,
Yeah.
10,000.
And he goes far above that.
Yeah. And silver will follow. So again, and that's why I thought it was important that we talk because
Yes.
a lot of people I do talk to, we're talking about that and they're looking at me like, a deer in the headlights saying, okay, well, I don't have any, should I buy? Or it's people just don't see the macroeconomic, what's happening right now and the
Yes.
geopolitics, what's happening right now. And that is how we run our businesses by understanding what's coming. Eric Sprott says, read the future early.
Yeah. I leave it exactly at this. That's amazing last statement. But let me close out the session properly as we always do. Before we finally wrap up, thank you to Benoit La Salle for a very, very compelling conversation. Your experience, Benoit, highlights a familiar recipe for success in mining and beyond. Timing matters, luck plays its part, but it's quality of delivery, the willingness to pivot, and we said this, the perseverance to stay the course that ultimately makes the difference. Add a clear vision of where you're heading, and you begin to see why some leaders move early and others, frankly, arrive late. And if there's one thing this conversation makes clear is that silver is no longer a side note in the market. It's becoming a central part of the story, probably again. Benoit, leaves me to say thank you again. It was an immense pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you for inviting me. Yes, it was very, very nice to have this discussion. And I just hope that many people start looking at the gold price and the silver price.